How it look, YouTube? Today we got the only black man to lead the Hells Angels, Gregory Woolley.
Gregory Woolley is a Haitian-born Canadian who rose to the top of the leaderboard of the infamous organized criminal group called the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Woolley was the enforcer and bodyguard of Maurice Boucher as senior and president, who led the Quebec chapter from 1994 to 2002. Before we talk about Gregory, we need to establish who is Boucher and why he plays an important role for Gregory. Maurice Boucher was part of the racist biker club that was called the SS and was to be violent to anybody that was not white. Maurice had a son named Francis Boucher that was a Nazi who started a festival called the Aryan Fest Musical in '92 to celebrate Nazism. However, despite Gregory Woolley's complexion, he was very close to Maurice Boucher, and because of that, Maurice named him his enforcer or bodyguard. Before Gregory joined the Hells Angels, he was a leader of a street gang called the Master B, which he was purchasing controlled drugs and substances from the motorcycle club to distribute on the streets, and quickly rose to become some sort of kingpin from it. But because of Gregory's loyalty to Maurice and the money he has generated for the motorcycle club, Maurice made Gregory the leader of a puppet gang called the Rockers MC. This gang was not like the other motorcycle clubs that does typical tasks like other outlaws, but very distinguished, and the enforcers were broken into two teams. The teams were a baseball team that handled the assaults and the football team who committed the murders. So now, Woolley being the best and most dangerous assassin for the Hells Angels, he had a unique nickname called Picasso, which was his Montreal street name because he was so sophisticated and such an artist when it was time to kill. At 17, he got his first body, who was another Haitian gang member that he killed, and was honored by Maurice by the way he cut and carved up his enemy, that he was named president of the Rockers. And because of that, he was the first ever black biker to become the head and president of an outlaw biker club in Canada. Besides the Hells Angels, Woolley had allies who were the Young Turk and the Rizzuto crime family led by Francesco Arcadi, Lorenzo Giordano, and Francesco Del Balso. Rock machine biker Pierre Beecham, who was shot and killed by Gregory Woolley, who fled in a car that had stolen plates, which was later abandoned. Woolley went to a bar later on that night, which he bragged about the killing, saying, I quote, "gotten one for the Hells Angels." He said this to another rocker member of his MC club, which this information was used as crown evidences against Maurice Boucher, who didn't want Gregory to take any money from the victim because he didn't want the feds to think it was a drug deal gone bad. The RCMP informant within the Rockers, Danny Kane, told the feds in February 1997 that the Hells Angels had taken over the majority of the Rock Machine's drug market. He later reported that the Rockers set up a death squad led by Gregory Woolley and his Rockers members to eliminate any Rock Machine MC members from drug territories, and that the Hells Angels were to give them 30% of all profits from drug sales once the Hells Angels have taken over. On March 28, 1997, a Rocker MC member named Samar, acting under Woolley's order, walked in a hockey arena and shot and killed Rock Machine MC biker Jean-Marc Kessy. After Samar was arrested, he turned into informant and became crown evidence and named Woolley as the man who gave him orders to kill Kessy. But Samar, thinking he was safe getting transferred to the Saskatchewan penitentiary, would later be killed as he was stabbed 187 times a short time after arriving. Meanwhile, Woolley was charged with first-degree murder but was acquitted because Samar was proved to be a poor witness on the stand. When Woolley joined the Rockers MC, he left the Master B gang he created, and since then the crew had fell apart. But according to the separation, this Haitian immigrant Beauvoir Jean founded a new gang called the Bogars, which is a black gang that stands for Haitian French slang, the handsome boys. When Woolley heard the Bogars gang being formed, he quickly created another black gang, although he was already the president of a biker gang. That other gang he created was the Syndicate, also known as the Crackdown Posse. The Bogars' dislike for Woolley had several reasons, but one of them was the fact that Woolley was serving a clearly racist group, which is the Hells Angels. Despite Woolley and his loyalty to the biker club, it was ironic because Beauvoir Jean and the Bogars gang would work for the Rizzuto family, which also has hate towards black people and other race. After a while, the Bogars later rebranded the gang name and called themselves the Bloods. So Woolley and the Syndicate, Crackdown Posse crew rebrand as the Montreal Crips. Woolley also made the MTL Crips and the Crackdown Posse join forces with the Rockers in '98 and operated in a neighborhood in Montreal called Saint Michel. In 1999, Woolley would be in a strange situation with a police officer when he was pulled over on his Harley-Davidson bike for speeding. The police officer claimed he was frightened because he noticed the Rockers MC patch that was on Woolley's back, and he knew from Woolley's reputation that he was the only black outlaw biker in Montreal and is extremely dangerous. However, during the confrontation, the police officer called for backup and had Woolley arrested, although they found no drugs and guns on him, but later on said they found a handgun down the road and believe it belonged to the one named Picasso. But Woolley's lawyer argued that it was planted by the police and that case had been thrown out. While being in jail, correction officers in the department facility would say that Woolley is too dangerous and violent, among other inmates. The year after this incident, Woolley would again be brought in by justice for trying to go to Haiti with a handgun at the airport. On February 2001, the Bouchard's Major Crime Unit developed enough evidence to arrest 42 Hells Angels and Rockers MC with at least 23 counts of first-degree murder. A month later, in March, the police launched Operation Springtime that arrested most, if not all, of the Rockers members, including Woolley. He was being charged with several murders for the Hells Angels. The police thought arresting Woolley would have made him turn informant and snitch on the Hells Angels for being the Rockers' president and as a black man that was not allowed to join the Hells Angels properly, as they had a lot of DNA evidence against him. But it was the complete opposite, as Woolley would stand 10 toes firm and would not cooperate with the feds, as he was the only one who never said a word. He was charged with conspiracy to traffic in narcotics and with first-degree murder of a Rock Machine biker in '96. After his cross-examination, which he gave the feds absolutely nothing, a psychologist sat down with Woolley and found that Woolley had certain issues. To begin with, they felt Woolley had uncontrollable rage and is extremely violent, prone to excessive anger and murderous tendencies. They also found, I quote, Woolley had poor judgment and low self-esteem, noting that he tried to commit suicide at the age of 16 as he was ashamed to be a black man in a society where being white was the ideal. As he needed approval from authority figures such as Hells Angels to maintain self-worth. He later refused any more psychologist evaluations as he felt they would use it against him. While being incarcerated, Woolley would be tried twice for the Rock Machine MC member for murder and was acquitted both times because his lawyer argued that the DNA evidence the Crown presented was planted. So he was able to get the first-degree murder charge dropped and was convicted for other charges and served his time at the Kingston Penitentiary. In 2007, Woolley was paroled and had his time deducted in jail before his trial from prison term. Later on in life, in August 2012, Woolley called for a meeting with a bunch of black street gang leaders in Saint Adele to have some sort of union with all the gangsters under his leadership. But one Haitian-Canadian street gang leader, Chenier Dupuis, wasn't down for the movement and never showed up. He was later murdered in his SUV on August 13, 2012. While being busy controlling the street-level gang in TL Crips and being president of the Rockers MC, he would also time to time support the Rizzuto family during their beefs. The Rizzuto had so much love and respect for Woolley and his abilities as a leader, but more importantly as a killer. In December 2013, Rizzuto passed away and Woolley attended the funeral with a bunch of Hells Angel leaders from Quebec and Ontario and was given honor from the Rizzuto family and was considered an important ally and equal to them. The fact that the Hells Angels are considered racist and adopt individuals from African ethnic to join their chapters. The Hells Angels felt Woolley was just a rare breed and special. That's what got him to rise to senior position in the Hells Angels. On November 17, 2023, all the demons would catch up to Gregory Woolley as he would be gunned down in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec. He was 51.
Thanks for watching. Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe.